Hello, everyone. I see people are slowly joining us. We're so excited to have you here today. So I know some of you have been with us before, and others, this might be your first time here. So thank you so much for joining. And we want you to use this time to ask questions, really get advice from our experts that are on our call today because they have a lot of experience and want to share it with you. And careers in tech can be scary. Trying to figure out what skills you need can be scary. So take this time as a safe space to learn and explore what options are out there for you and just make yourself a better you. And with that, I will pass it over to Chaitra.
Thank you, Marissa. Thank you so much for pulling this together. I don't think we can do such a great job with not having you pull to ask me anything. So first is everyone, where are you joining us from? Put it in the chat, say hello. Let us know where you're joining and why are you joining today? We want to know that too. And if there's one question we can solve, what would that be for you? Okay. Long Beach, joining from Georgia. Love it. I'm joining from Seattle. We have Bay Area. We have Omaha, Nebraska, Bahamas, Seattle. Hi, Sonakshi. I'm also in Seattle too. London, New Jersey, Dallas. Beautiful. Welcome. We have a beautiful group today. And then we can literally spend some time learning about today's topic. So there are two experts, we have an expert in-house. We have Angie. Angie, welcome. Very excited to have you here today. Do you want to do a quick introduction of who you are and what you are excited about? And we'll do a formal introduction later. Say
Perfect.
Hello to
Thanks, Chaitra. Yes, as you said, Angie Ruddick is my name. I am a senior content developer at Microsoft, and I help manage and create the data analyst portfolio on Microsoft Learn, which includes the PL300 Power BI data analyst certification. And what am I excited about? I am excited about being here to support women skilling because internally at Microsoft, I am a co-leader for our technical women at Microsoft community, and promoting gender equity in technical roles is very near and dear to my heart. So I'm super excited about having this invite and being here today.
Thank you, Angie. We are really lucky to have you. Okay, before we get started, I have one question for you to get engaged. So let's go next slide. So the question is, why do you want to pursue a career in tech? And what's your dream job going to look like if you are going to be in tech? Put it in the chat for us. For me, I can tell you why I pursued my career in tech in 1995. There was news, I would say, a segment where they said was Microsoft is going to touch 1 billion people with this software, which is Windows 95. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, which software can touch 1 billion people? And it was so amusing. As an electrical engineer, I'm like, you can't see software, but it's going to touch 1 billion people. So the first thing I did was go and buy a Windows 95 technology so I could see it. So that one was I would say, the genesis of my love for technology. And right now where I am is I feel like I'm really working in the dream job every single day. So I have people saying it's fun, practical, and can change the world. Absolutely, Ice. The chief of staff is my next role I want. Trish, reach out to me. There is a chief of staff role at Meta. If you're interested with that company, please text me. I would love to kind of get you connected. I love computers and was the only subject I really liked in school. Absolutely. Opportunity to grow with the cloud growth and trajectory. I love the innovation. So the more you interact, the more opportunities will open up. Maddie says, I'm currently in higher education, but technology and design has always been a passion. I love client success based on previous roles and have always been interested in tech. Well, beautifully said. I'm very excited that all of you are here. But here are something that is available right now from a Microsoft specialization and professional certificate. Going to next slide. These are the things that are offered through the Women in Cloud Scholarship in partnership with Microsoft, which is delivered through the Coursera platform. So now we have a lot of stuff, but today what we will be focusing on is the Microsoft Power BI Data Analyst PL300 certification, why you need to have it, what is the benefit of it, what is the inside information around it. So this particular one, we want you to understand so you can go take the certification and also apply for the scholarship. If you don't want to pay, thousands of dollars to get there, Women in Cloud has made this one accessible for you. So if you're interested, put in the chat saying, yes, I want that scholarship. Then we will explain how to get that today. Okay, as part of Women in Cloud, we also have a Insider Circle program. This is where we help women cultivate leadership and also celebrate, as part of it, helping women to really build their personal brand narrative, which is in alignment to their professional brand. So those two are very critical. Second is develop their signature thoughts so that they're recognized as a thought leader in the market. And then also have access to opportunities so that can help you really build your thought leadership and also get access to warm network, I would say, through the hospitality experience or through direct connection or even connecting with us. So that opportunity is there. So if you go to next slide, Marissa, this one is, think about as a professional growth accelerator. Really, with the investment you make, it has a 10x ROI. There's a workbook, and then there's a deep working activities you have to do throughout the year. And Ice is here. She's been one of the most wonderful member of the Insider Circle. Today, she was recognized as the leader of the month for showing up, doing all her homework, because that is what it takes. You need a structured program to be part of, I would say, the structured way of learning and also structured way of growing, because you need a holistic programming around it. So first is, if you're interested, that program is available for you. With that, I want to actually welcome Angie here. So she already introduced, but she is a senior technical content developer at Microsoft, and with over a decade of experience specializing in SQL Server and Power BI. Her background as a technical consultant and instructor bring perspective and expertise to her role, developing comprehensive, well-prepared materials for a range of role-based certification. Notably, she maintains a certification such as PL300, Microsoft Power BI Data Analyst and DPE 500, and Azure Enterprise Data and Analyst Associate. That's her technical introduction, but let me tell you, she is very caring. She cares about her family. She loves to knit. She loves reading fantasy, and she is a tech mom support. So anytime you want to know more about who she is, she can also talk about that. With that, Angie, welcome. We are very excited to host you and really helping us bring the gender equity in tech. It starts with people like you. So welcome.
Thanks again, Chaitra. I'm super excited to be here. Everything you already said is perfectly appropriate. I got into technology, let's see, long ago. I have been in technology since 2011. I did not go to college. I don't have a degree. I was working in a call center, and I used to do call quality monitoring. So I was the person listening when you would hear that somebody's listening. And we had a problem with one of our software, and I asked the person about it, and I gave them advice, all of the information that I had collected about why I thought it was not working. And he sent back that was the piece that he needed to fix it, and sent me a job posting for the junior position underneath him. And that was how I got into technology. It was kind of a help desk application support role. From there, I moved into being a DBA, and that's how I really got to be in Microsoft, was with that SQL Server Azure experience. So now fast forward, I've been at Microsoft for 6 years. I spent 5 years as a premier field engineer, essentially technical SME, trusted advisor to Microsoft customers. I pivoted a couple years, almost 3 years ago now, into Power BI and haven't looked back since. It's really always been very exciting. BI, data viz are very exciting things. With Power BI is Microsoft Fabric, of course, which was just announced in preview, and is GA is on the horizon, so very exciting. And so now I write content, as mentioned. So for the different certifications, we specifically write content. If you've ever gone to Microsoft Learn and opened a module and gone through the different units and maybe done a hands-on lab or a knowledge check at the end, that's what I do. And specifically, I just revamped the PL300, so I hope you all like it. And if not, click that feedback button. I would love to hear from you, honestly. Yeah, my passions, I love supporting technical women, moms. I've had a hard time adjusting to being a mom of 5-year-old and a 3-year-old in 5 days. We just got her bouncy house delivered for her birthday party this weekend. So yeah, it's a big, hard transition, and we don't give ourselves enough credit for it. And we hold ourselves to standards of people without children, people with different abilities, and we have to give ourselves some grace a little bit more. Yeah, so I think that's enough about me. Let's go to the next slide. Let's start talking about Power BI. This is quite the marketing thing, right? But what can you do? You can unlock the power of your data with interactive reports, gain actionable insights, and make data-driven decisions with Microsoft Power BI. The key there is really the interactivity, right? That's what makes Power BI its bread and butter. But why do you want a Microsoft certification in the first place, right? Like, who cares? Yeah, you put it in your resume, but does anybody care? Well, they're globally recognized. Obviously, here we are partnering with Women in Cloud, Coursera, not certifications, scholarships. People really look for them. I have applied for many a DBA role and seen many a job requirement or preferred suggested skill, whatever they list, that says Microsoft certification, right? It also demonstrates that you're willing to actually sit down, learn something to become what we call, comprehensive, and demonstrate it, especially with previous iterations of our exam process. It's a lot. I hold 5 certifications right now, I think, and it's hard work. I've definitely failed my share and had to go back and re-watch them, or relearn and figure out where I'm missing. So it certainly won't hurt you. And I think it's a great starting place if you want to learn how to use things and then move into that hands-on real world experience. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so let's talk about what PL300 is. It's a Power BI data analyst certification. That's a whole lot of words. What does that mean? If you are, a candidate, or you're successfully passing, you're going to be able to use data to deliver insights. That's really what it is, right? You take raw data and you turn it into insightful information. Collaborate with stakeholders to define how you want these reports to look. You need to be able to transform the data to make these insights, and then using data visualizations, You need to be able to deploy this to the cloud access, and then being able to use two common coding languages, Power Query and DAX proficiently. I'm going to pause 1 second and dial it back. I saw a chat pop up that was really important. What is Microsoft Power BI? I didn't even say it. So Microsoft Power BI is twofold. It is a software as a solution, cloud hosted reporting solution. If you've ever used Microsoft SQL Server reporting services or Tableau, those are your biggest competitors. Power BI is kind of like the next level of reporting services reports. And it's really the idea behind Power BI was to enable users, any users, to start making more deliverable, actionable insights from data. We've all seen a report and said, I don't know what this means. I don't understand how this is being displayed. I could do this better, right? Hopefully you've thought that. Otherwise, you'll start thinking that after you start diving into Power BI. So there is an online cloud version, which is how you distribute and manage Power BI. But as PL300, the primary place where you'll spend your time is in the Power BI desktop application. Free download, go get it from your Microsoft store, or you can download it directly. You don't need an account, you don't need money. The desktop application itself is free. You can connect it to an Excel sheet and your budget or whatever and start playing around with it. Or go do my online labs, they're free and you get a VM. So that's Power BI. This is PL300, where you show proficiency using Power BI. Let's go to the next slide. Let's talk about how you're really going to be tested. There are 4 overarching skill groups that we test, and you can see this percentage here, 25 to 30% of the exam will consist of preparing the data. The most important thing a data analyst needs to know is that garbage in means garbage out. If you have dirty data with tons of errors or not shaped the way you need, you're not going to make pretty reports. You might be able to get by with some things, but we've probably all used Excel and had to start doing more than a simple table, right? Columns and rows. So this is really the first and most important step. You connect to the data, you use what we call Power Query Editor. You'll start to, which is a graphical interface, right? You can click, drag, drop. Power BI is very low to no code friendly. Start going through the data, get rid of misspellings, fix things, keep columns, remove columns, create new columns, all sorts of things. Then you load the data into what we now call your data model, which is the next slide. So your data model, quick show of yes or no, Y or N in the chat, so I'll just see them pop up. Who here knows the difference between a fact and a dimension table and how they're related? Okay, so I see a lot of no's. If you think about an activity, database design, traditional database design, and Power BI is built on reporting off of databases officially. Traditional database design, you have a fact table. Let's use sales because everybody knows sales. Sales, how do you track sales? You have your traditional sales table with the orders and specific things about the orders. That is your fact table. What date the order was placed, how many items, what the total price is, maybe the tax, just some basic details. Now you start thinking, well, who bought it? And where do they live? And what store did they buy it from? Those we start to call dimensions. You could build out one giant flat table, Excel, let's pretend, and have all of that there, but you probably have a bunch of duplicates. And so you can design role-playing dimensions, relationships, things we see here on this slide, where you have your sales table is the primary table and everything connects to it. It's called a star schema. Write that down. Very important. Star schema is Power BI's best friend. So this whole section here is about taking that clean data and making it useful into a star schema and connecting the different pieces so that you know that customer number 1 has placed this many orders in your orders table, and you can start making an insight, right? Oh, well, I know that Angie certainly has bought a lot of mermaid supplies this week because she's having a mermaid birthday party. Maybe I can target ads at her for mermaids, right? Or it looks like young children type things. So you can make decisions and insights based on the data, the way you slice and dice it, right? Okay, so let's move to the next slide. So we have our clean data. Now we have our modeled data. What next? Everybody's favorite part. Visualize and analyze. You want to make the reports, right? The really cool thing about Power BI, instead of just being everybody's favorite pie chart that is just static and lives on the page, you can interact with it. So let's say you have, unfortunately, a pie chart that is got 5 different values in it. If you click one and you have additional images, visualizations, we call them, on the report, it will filter for that specific value across your table, your report page, as long as you have properly modeled your data and cleansed your data, which is why it's so incredibly important that you do that first. And then most people love this part. Changing colors, making it accessible. There's a lot of accessibility features. Microsoft prides ourselves on being inclusive for all people. I know we'll talk about that later when we talk about the exam and things, but there's a whole bunch of stuff here, right? I won't get into all of it because there's a lot. You're really gonna have to click it down and get into Power BI. So let's wrap up with the final piece, because all of what we've talked about here, transform, yes, next slide. Transform, model, and visualize all happens in the Power BI desktop application again, right? Free, you can download it right now, start using it. Then the next step comes using the online cloud service. This is also really relevant to where Microsoft Fabric comes in. Microsoft Fabric is like the turbo version, and Power BI will be included in it. But in Power BI, you just need some way to logically divide things, right? We call them workspaces. On your own computer, you call it a folder. You're going to put like items into that workspace, and then you're going to share those like items, which will be the reports, out to whoever you want to share them with. There's all sorts of configurations about how to share, creating apps so that it's a very cleanly presented solution for people to look at your reports and only your reports, and not the busy outside of Power BI while you're being the developer. Data sets are the last thing I'll say, and then we'll stop talking about this part here. Data sets are all that hard work you did, the transformation and cleansing, and then the modeling. All of that becomes your data model or data set, and that is separated in the Power BI service from the visual report, and it just ties back to it, right? Because remember what I said earlier about how Power BI is really empowering people to do more with the data? I created a Power BI report for myself but my coworker, Shannon, is amazing. Power BI witch in a positive way. And she can do better reports than I can. I'll just be honest. So she can connect to that same data set if I give her permissions and go make her own report, which also includes your value, right? If you can build this amazing thing that other people can also do, we call it contributing to the success of others at Microsoft. You do that and you are showing your impact at your company. Okay, so that's a whole lot about what we test, what some basic things about Power BI are in a very high level conceptual point, which makes no sense if you're not looking at it and if you've never seen it before. So let's click at the next slide and talk about what you need to do if everything I just said blew your head off, right? There's study guide skills that dig into all of that we just looked at. Get your baseline from there. You can go take free online practice tests at Microsoft Learn for PL300. As many times as you want. Figure out where your weaknesses and your strengths are. Go take my PL300 courses online. They've got free VMs with the lab instructions right there for you to go use. You don't even have to download this stuff. There's also some exam prep videos that walk through those same 4 groups that we talked about. Again, free on Microsoft Learn. Plus all this great stuff with Coursera, right? So we're not forgetting everything. So the next, and I think last piece for me, is talking about some tips for taking the exam. These apply regardless of what Microsoft exam you're taking. Be early, whether you're doing it remotely or in a center, be early. If you need to be remote, there are some really interesting requirements. Definitely take the time to read those beforehand. You need to have just your laptop. You can't have a colored cup. You can't have your phone around you. There's all sorts of things. So make sure you're prepared to have the exam at home. And then read the questions and the answers. I like to read the answers first personally, and then I look at the questions, because there are going to be some things that I know it's like, oh, use a Lego to build a data visualization. Obviously, that's not right. So I can immediately eliminate the ones I don't like that don't fit well. So try to eliminate first, use the mark for review and look at the ones later, but manage your time wisely. You only get a certain amount of time. Again, there are exceptions and accommodations if you apply and approved, but manage your time wisely and maybe even time yourself when you take a practice exam. Okay, I've been talking a lot. Let's see, I think I'm done with slides, aren't I? Let's see what happens next.
Angie, it was so good, because for me, I was like, I want to take this certification now. You explained it so beautifully. So first is thank you. Here is my model that I took. Prepare, model, visualize, deploy, and maintain, and practice, and
Yes.
Prepare for the exam. Always have a buddy. That would be great for you to work together. And you have a community who's all interested. So with that, how many of you are actually interested to pursue PL300 certification? Me, I love it, Jessica. That's awesome. Bijou is interested. I can tell you, anyone who knows how to manipulate data and put it into a proper visualized view, they are going to grow in their leadership role much faster than anyone. Angie, that was the advice I was given when I was at Oracle. They say, if you get the data and you can put the data in a visual format and the executives can understand, that means you know your business and you know how to navigate. And I've been always loved to manipulate data, but this one was pretty fabulous. Your story is inspiring, extremely inspiring for all of us. I have a lot of questions. Is it okay if I can ask you some?
Absolutely open. It's an AMA, right?
Exactly. First is on a scale of 1 to 10, did you guys enjoy it? Like learning about PL300? Yes? Put it in the chat saying yes. Fantastic. Thanks, Angie. That was fabulous. And I also want to thank Debbie Uttecht for making this possible. She is our role model and an icon in the Women in Cloud for making this possible for all of us. So first question is the most fascinating question, Angie, is how did you grow your professional skill from a call center into the role of building a training program in Microsoft, which is not an easy task. So tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I will try. I'm a long story long kind of gal, so I will try. But I think I've always personally been very analytical and process driven. Even when I worked in the call center, that's actually where I learned Excel. And I am not, even my son who loves Legos, right? He's constantly creating these amazing creations from basic blocks. You can't do that. I can undo it. So when I took the job as the QA specialist, I was given an Excel sheet with a lot of complicated Excel formulas, and I learned how to pull it apart and find out how it worked. And then I could see the big picture and look at it and start to write it myself. So for me, I take things apart. And I also learned a lot about business. I had to interface with the customer about what their expectations for our call center employees were on how they handled the calls. And I learned how to speak to people that way. I'm also just random quick shout out is I'm a big believer in many of the top names out there for psychology, like Adam Grant, James Clear, Simon Sinek, Brene Brown, anything from all of them. That definitely helps you see how to make, conscious decisions about interacting with people without feeling like you're threatening them or that you are submitting to them.
Awesome, Angie. Very inspiring. And Debbie, very nice to see you on the screen. Hello, thank you for making this possible. Everyone is excited about PL300. Me too. When is it going to be available as part of the WIC scholarship? I know I've seen Marissa drop the date, but yes. Debbie, do you have info on that?
Yes, I'm very excited about the PL300 being added to the scholarship program. This course and certification path is one of our most popular at Microsoft. So you're in good company, you're in a good place for pursuing this. It's one of our top certification paths. It will be added to the Coursera scholarship starting August 27th. So starting this weekend, we'll start to get that incorporated into the scholarship. So definitely apply for the scholarship, but also check out the resources on Microsoft Learn as well and get to know the role, get to know even play with the practice test. I did that actually. I was curious how much I actually knew about Power BI and started taking the test to see where I was weak and where I knew what I was talking about. So really fun to just play around, test your knowledge and test what you're interested in while you wait for the scholarship information to come through.
Yeah, and Debbie, here's a fact. Last night I was looking at Fiverr and Upwork because that's where most of the freelancers are looking for. There's not a whole lot of women who are doing, the Power Apps and Power Data. There's not a whole lot. So there's a huge opportunity for you to build that skill set through the certification.
Absolutely. And we need more diverse minds looking at data, right? We need people from all backgrounds and all skill sets looking at data because they're going to see insights in there that meet the audience needs.
Got it. So for you and Angie is how can Power BI skill enhance a tech professional's career prospects?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, tech professional is a bit too broad, but let's say you are, well, first off, data. Chaitra summed it up perfectly. 10 years ago when Facebook was collecting all the things, what did we hear? Big data, right? I remember having the conversation with my grandma, no less, about big data. But the question now is, so what? Facebook has all of your information. So what? Back to my mermaid decoration example. You can start making insights. How do you make insights? That's what business intelligence is. BI, right? The power BI. So being able to take it and do it for anything you want, right? Like start simple, start with what works for you. I didn't use Power BI because I didn't know it yet. But when I was house hunting, I had this very detailed Excel spreadsheet and I calculated things that made sense to me, right? Not just our requirements on number of bedrooms or bathrooms or space, but also how close it was to the 3 daycares that I got a discount on through work, which mattered to me more. And so back to the idea from Debbie about diverse opinions. How many men probably would think those same things that I did when I was house hunting, right? So you can provide an insight that not everybody will see. And even if you just use, I taught to how I learned Power BI when I transferred the customer I was supporting full-time. They were in healthcare, and I taught Power BI monthly to data analysts, nurses, doctors. It was anybody and everybody, HR people. So you can use Power BI literally any way you want. It's just like the next level Excel sheet. So no matter your profession, if you started coming up with some kind of report that you could show to your manager, your manager's manager, think about how much impact you're going to have. And they're gonna be like, look how much work they put into it. Don't tell them it's not that hard. Right? Like you can set yourself up for success for sure with Power BI.
Cool. So Angie and Debbie, the question is this course self-paced? And is there a time limit to complete the course?
Oh, go ahead, Debbie.
I will speak to the Coursera part of it, and then Angie, you can feel free to, of course, add on. For Coursera, there's a 12-month. You have the scholarship for 12 months once you're into the program, and they expect, the way they've put it in modules and added content to it from the content that Angie develops, they estimated it will take you up to 4 months. So you have time to do it. And then I would say in terms of taking the exam, you want to take the exam probably within 2 to 4 weeks. Angie, you probably have an opinion here too, but pretty close to when you've completed that training course, so that it is, you've the terminology, the phrasing is fresh in your mind. Angie, please add to that.
Yeah. In addition to Coursera, I think a perfect partnership, almost accompaniment, is the Learn stuff, because everybody learns differently. I'll be completely honest. Every time when I use DAX for Power BI, I use 2 resources. I use the Microsoft resource, and I also use SQLBI.com, which literally wrote the book on DAX, because they both have different ways to explain how to use the different functions. So like an if statement in Excel, there's an if in Power BI, and they both give slightly different explanations and examples. And for me, that helps because I'm very analytical anyways. But I would say take the Coursera one if you have the opportunity. You can't turn down such a robust program. And then add to it, supplement with the free Microsoft Learn stuff, which the online course, which you can navigate through from the PL300 landing page, that is all self-paced, and there are estimated times on how long it'll take. And so you can take that however you want. I think it's like 15 hours. Obviously, you won't be doing that in a day. And to really lock that in will take longer. but to walk through the content, it's around 15 hours. And then for comparison, it's taught over 3 days, right? So the instructor-led training is 3 days. So for sure. And ICE, yes, you don't have any coding background, you can still do PL 300. You could get away with no code using some quick help. And when I saw somebody asking about AI, when Power BI Copilot is released, it will be your Copilot, right? It will be the one to, I use AI all of the time to help me rationalize. It's the bouncing an idea off the wall. You can do the same thing for code with Power BI Copilot when it comes out. So I think it's going to be amazing for people who want to come into it and are afraid from code, but Power BI is a low to no code solution.
Awesome. I also have I don't have any coding background. Can I still do PL 300? And I think, Angie, you just answered that question.
Yes,
but I think it's more than, I think, not just the coding, but is that going to enhance your professional growth development? So Angie, can you add about that? Is like, did it help you stand out in a group of people because you had this specific skill and you were able to articulate the insights to your management or to the people you are working with?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Power BI itself is going to be this, kind of set you apart, as we already explained. But I would say that if you also learn the code side of things, like to be really effective in Power BI, you're going to learn code. And the two codes are DAX, which stands for Data Analytics Expressions. It is tricky. That is definitely tricky. And then there's a lot out there, right? And then there's M, which is the language you use in Power Query. And if you have ever opened Excel and clicked the get data and kind of played around with the steps, that is Power Query. I think it's also in Power Pivot. So if you have familiarity there. M is not as commonly used, but if you figure it out, that's definitely a leg up in the world of Power BI.
Cool. Awesome. Hopefully you got the answers you were looking for. I know there were some things, Debbie, Angie, like people are feeling that the links are broken. Please send a note to us, to Women in Cloud, and we will share it with Microsoft so that can be addressed. At the end of the day, it's a collaborative process. When you contribute to the journey for yourself and also the larger ecosystem, everyone benefits. So, Leanne, thank you for highlighting that. And really, let's make sure the resources are easily accessible. And things change because it's an online world. The links always change. So if you see it, let us know right away. Any other questions you all have for Angie and Debbie? So the question is, are the certification enough to learn these languages? Angie?
Great question. I would say not the certification itself, right? The exam, no. And there is some robust content about DAX, but the thing about DAX is it's like a bike. You can know how it's supposed to work, but you have to get on it and figure out how to balance your body and have enough, motion and energy propelling you forward to stay up. So I would say it is enough to get you to pass the certification, and you will always continue to learn DAX. No one will ever be the expert or the know-all of it.
And Angie, Debbie, is it okay for people to reach out to you via LinkedIn? Because I got a personal text. Is that okay? And can we put your LinkedIn on the chat? And you can please reach out. Our community is extremely accessible, and we create infinite access for each other. That's how we can create $1 billion of economic access for all of you. So please do that. Debbie, is there any reason you have seen that PL 300 is the most popular course?
I think it's just so needed in business. Data really goes across all aspects of business, whether it's making business decisions for what products you or services that you sell are doing the best, what audiences are resonating with them. So all levels of business, even operations, logistics, all of those areas need data and need a way to consume that data and look for insights. And so it's a role that's just very needed in the market, and with lots of different maybe specialties within those roles. And so we see, what my role is working with partners who deliver training all over the world. And so from the data I get, to keep it in theme, is that is one of our most popular courses. It's in the top 3 of our courses. That's how popular it is around the world. So that is directly related to the roles that are needed in business. Angie, you probably have a more eloquent answer to that, but that's what I see.
I don't think I have an eloquent answer. I think that's it.
Okay, good.
Data is hot. And data viz is even more. Like everybody asks for more data viz.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Awesome. I'm just trying to find, are there any free exam vouchers with the courses?
Yes. So with the scholarship, we do offer free exams. So if you are able to get into the scholarship program, I know it's more limited than we would like, and we'll continue to work on creating more entries for the scholarship. When you complete the course, so you have to do your work. When you complete that course, that's when you are able to get the certification voucher, which gives you the exam for free. Within Coursera, you get a 50% discount on the voucher with any of the courses that you complete. So those are the 2 ways to get exam vouchers, either discounted or free.
Thanks, Debbie. And I just also wanted to add a little bit more emphasis on when you're given the scholarship, please complete within 4 months, because that way we know you're taking action to get it done. If you're going to delay and you're not going to take action, we will take the scholarship away, because that's the role of us. If you don't put in effort, if you're not going to take responsibility, then that scholarship can go to someone who's really serious about building their skill set so they can get the. So keep that in mind. It's a partnership between you. If you are moving through the learning process and every week we see action, that means no problem. As soon as we see stagnancy in your commitment to your own growth, the scholarship goes away. So that's how it's designed. And that's why we can stretch the scholarship for lots of people so they can all have access to this opportunity. Angie, this is a good question for you. What are the best features of Power BI and any secrets that we need to know about? I love the secrets.
Okay, so the best feature is definitely online when you're distributing it at the end. It's building an app for your workspace. So it's one workspace, one app. Remember, workspaces are like folders. So everything you put in your your similar folder workspace can be sent in an app. And for years, people would always say, but I want to share it with another group, right? Like it's sales data, and I want to send it out to the C-levels, and I want individual salespeople to be able to see it. There's 2 things. One, there's row level security, so you can set dynamically who can see the data within. And now within the app, you can create different audiences. Microsoft Power BI product group does listen. For people would have to create multiple copies of reports, multiple workspaces to have multiple apps sent to different audiences. Now in the same workspace and app, you just click a button and pick who this new audience is and what they will have access within that same workspace. It's amazing. Yeah, I'll stop there because I can't think of another best feature from desktop.
Very well said. This is for all of you. What are the tech trends do you think will dominate the industry in the next few years, and how might Power BI play a role? Who wants to take a stab at it? I can give my perspective.
Let's hear you
but,
first, Chaitra.
I would say the tech trends is with the AI emergence that's happening, you have to really know how to operate technology effectively, build and operate. That's a very important piece. And as Angie was talking about, is how do you prepare your prompts? How do you prepare your instructions? That's a very important skill. And that is something, it's an intelligence you have to acquire for every technology to be used in the way. Second is you also need to know models and hypotheses of how do you need to, the hypothesis needs to like define. And second, what are the models you need? And data will be the integral part of it. And the Power BI will give you that kind of skill set to look at large amounts of data. So the big data will be accessible for human beings like us. So we can actually do interesting solutions that can solve world problems. That's the kind of power we're going to get. Even with the phone that you hold, you have that kind of power in your hand. And visualizing that, I think that one is a huge evolution that you'll see with how the AI can start to pull the visualization component using the prompts and the models and the things that will all come together. And deploying and maintaining will all happen in cloud. And you need to know how that happens, because you need to have the entire stack of understanding. And that's where the tech will be evolving. Right now, you see spot solutions, which means everyone is creating solution for some. In future, there will be a workflow-driven solution. That means it's going to stitch these one. The next evolution will be an integrated workflow. You won't even feel like there's hundreds and hundreds of software being used, because everything will be stitched. And when that happens, you have a superpower in your hand, and you need to be part of creating that superpower rather than waiting and saying, why is this happening to me? It's just saying, I am leading the change. So that's my philosophy on the tech evolution. Debbie, Angie?
Ooh, you said something that sparked my memory, which I'm slightly embarrassed to say I didn't think of initially, but it is Microsoft Fabric. Like, I completely agree. It's AI, but Microsoft Fabric was announced in preview at Build just back in May, and I've been working on the content since, I don't know, probably a year ago, to get that out. But the purpose of Microsoft Fabric is to be software as a service, which is always very popular, right? I remember when we started going from on-prem SQL servers to Azure, one of the biggest complaints was needing more control over some of the SaaS solutions. So with Fabric, it's supposed to be, or it will be, an end-to-end data analytics solution. And so it includes bringing data in. You get to use Spark, which is Apache Spark, because it's very highly performant. You get to, then there's going to be tools for machine learning data scientists to look at the data the way they like it, which is very different than the way data analysts like their data. And then you're going to be able to, extract, transform, load, or extract, load, transform that data for data analysts to start using it. And then Power BI is kind of that end piece. There's also some real-time analytics with streaming data, but Power BI is kind of the final product of that. So, I wouldn't go out and say, if you don't even know what Power BI is, go learn Fabric, because it's a lot. It is catered to multiple roles, right? I think there were 8 personas associated with Fabric. So it's not as similar as just one data analyst. So you can't learn it all. But if you learn one path through it, it would be very valuable, and it will be leveraging, right? You'll be bringing in this big data and being able to create machine learning models, and then using it potentially for AI, and then reporting off your business insights with Power BI. So there's a whole lot.
Very well said, Angie. Debbie?
The only thing I would add, because you were both obviously very well spoken here, is that the people that understand the data for their solution or their service, whatever it is their company does, the people that understand the data know how to get the data and look at different insights, they're the ones that are going to come up with the AI solutions needed for that company. So really think about that as something companies are going to need, someone who can take these large data sets or data from different sources and get insights out of it to create the AI solutions that they need.
Very well said. So I know we are like 4 minutes away. First question for all of you is, how many of you are looking for a job right now? And do you need access to recruiters? Do you need access to training? So put it in the chat. I'm looking for a job and I need connection right away, or I need something, so that way we know what you're looking for. The reason why I'm asking is we are rolling out a cloud apprentice program. There will be a stipend and it will be allowing you to get access to those jobs. But these readiness and this skilling program is established so you have the certification, so you can actually get into the roles very quickly. So when Marissa is sending us, there's a cloud apprentice roles, people are looking for it, please apply for it. If you don't fill that form, you're not going to get the job coming to you, because we want to make sure the matchmaking is done really well. Okay. So Kim, you're looking for, what are you looking for? You're looking for QA and data analyst roles. We do have a couple of them that's been requested. We have chief, what do you call this? I can't get the role name. I will. There are a lot of marketing roles that are available, and a lot of the executive roles are also available. So please put in here, just don't say I'm looking for a job. Tell us what kind of job you're looking for, because it allows us to find the right people. If you're looking for ops, you're looking for marketing, you're looking for technology, or you're looking for engineering, you're looking for sales, let us know a little bit clearly. And please reach out to Marissa in the digital network so that we know that if you're looking for that role, we'll get you connected. Bijou, I would love to connect with you, because there is a role for, within even Women in Cloud, for a marketing strategy and sales role. So I'll catch up with you very soon. How do I apply for a cloud apprentice? Marissa will drop the link. Please put in your information, because there are a few companies who have signed up to really provide a stipend and opportunity for you to work with them. That's fantastic. Okay, with that, how was this session for you? Were there any takeaways and any one action you're going to take right after this session? Put it in the chat. And on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being fabulous, 1 being, I don't know, why am I here? Put that also in the chat. There you go, Angie, you get the satisfaction scores right here. So you've been absolutely phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you all. I really, really appreciated being able to join. Debbie, thank you for thinking about me. And I just love this. I just have to say, I've been on other, communities, and to have the founding member sitting here asking you what jobs you're looking for and knowing jobs that are available. I mean, this is something special you all have here. So I'm super, super grateful to be able to be here with you today.
Yeah, Angie, we always say you come in as a stranger within Women in Cloud. When you leave, you have friends with you. And these friends, they are lifelong friends, because they all want to give and help and create with each other. Again, everyone, thank you so much for joining, and loud shout out for Debbie, for Angie, and Marissa for pulling this together. Without them, this access to the skilling and certification is not even possible. They have done a fabulous job on this planet. And we have delivered 3,000 scholarships over the last 2 years. And because of the need and also people who are ready to give, this is possible. So please take it seriously. These scholarships are very precious and also will change your life. And as you're looking for a job, be active and let us know what kind of roles you're looking for, so we can get the connections happen very quickly. Is that good? With that, Have a great, great weekend. Enjoy, look for some nice movie, go have fun and see what kind of data projects they are talking about, because Mission Impossible had one of the best content around data and BI and analytics. So if you want to learn more, go watch a movie. They'll show you what the futuristic of data and AI looks like. Again, thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great session.